Hi, Floppycatters, it's here. The making of Caymus's box. For those of you that don't know, Caymus was my parents' seal-mitted ragdoll cat. He passed away in December 2020 of chronic renal failure, and I felt a very strong connection with him, so I asked my mom if I could have his ashes, because what I wanted to do was create a box for him, much like I did for my cat Rags, who passed away in 2009 and is the reason I founded Floppycats. So that's his box on the left, and then the paper one is on the right. So step one was to get wax from his paw print that I got when he was 3 years old. I used Crayola Model Magic, and my silversmithing teacher actually did all of these. So she made several versions, and then we did the lost wax method to get that paw print turned into silver. So there are the paw prints ready to be cast, and first you have to put them like in a kiln and melt out the wax. And then this is where you're gonna heat the crucible. She's heating the crucible right now, and then we're gonna put that blue container of silver into that crucible and melt that down. And then centrifugal force is going to cause the metal to go into the part of the, basically where the wax is melted out of what she's picking up now. That's my silversmithing teacher. Her name's Sydney. So she's gonna put it in there next to the crucible, and the wax from Caymus's paw has melted out, and the investment that was around it now has a hole where that paw was. So that's what we're going to fill in with the centrifugal force. Is silver, is like hot liquid silver, is going to fly into that hole that was there. So Sydney's just adding the silver pieces. You know, you weigh it and figure all that out, and then that's a little bit of flux to get it all going. I took silversmithing classes from Sydney when I was in my 20s. I'm in my 40s now. I could have not done any of this without her. Luckily, she offers private tutoring, and so that's how we did this. We met every Saturday for, I don't know, 8 weeks or something like that. And this first portion was done shortly after he passed away, so that's why we all have masks on. So these paws were cast in either late 2020 or early 2021. So once the silver is in that canister, which I can't remember the name of all this stuff, you have to get it out of there. And the best thing to do is when it's hot and you move it back and forth in a bucket of water, and then you can pull out the actual silver, and then you have to clean the rest of it. So Sydney's just looking at him to make sure that sometimes when you use silver, you don't do it right or something goes wrong, you can have holes or pits in the casted piece. And so she was just double checking that that wasn't the case. And then she's getting the extra investment off with a toothbrush, and then I'm getting off the rest of the investment as well. And then there's a close-up of the paws. We casted 2 just to make sure that we, you know, had a backup, and so it ended up working out great because I wanted one paw on the top and then one paw on the inside of the box. And here are the paws all finished after, and then I had to saw off the arms that were there to make sure that it was all flat and smooth and ready for the box. So building the box now, everything has to be cut down, and then this will have to be rounded to be like that. So this is the template, and that's been cut, and then this will be this piece right here that goes on the inside to keep the box together. This piece is going to wrap around underneath Caymus's paw, so it has a little lift to it like Rags's does. And then this is going to be the bottom part, this part. We're going to cut it in 2 because Caymus's box is going to be a little bit taller than Rags's. It will be that height compared to Rags's. When you're working with metal, you have to bend it. And so then you also have to heat it up so that it is bendable, because if it's not annealed, it's very difficult to work with. And then once you get it all closed up, then you have to seal it up, and we did that. And so it's all sealed up here, just a round cylinder. And then we worked on adding the bottom and adding the top. Sydney had this cutter. I only let her do it. She offered for me to do it, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna screw this up. Silver is not cheap. And that's one reason why this was so delayed, because I wanted to get a good price on silver, and silver shot up during the pandemic. So here we're adding the bottom. You use whiteout to protect the solder that you've already used. And I'm Sydney's putting solder chips in there. We use 2 torches and just to heat it up and get the solder to move. I would never have been able to do any of this without Sydney though. I did Rags's box at community college with her, but I totally forgot how to do it. So this is the paw, and we're flooding solder on the bottom of it because this paw was going inside the bottom of the box. So it was going to be flat on the bottom of the box, whereas the one on the top had that little small ring. So once the bottom was on, I had to saw off that. This is Sydney stamping it with 925 because it is sterling silver, which is exciting. I also had her stamp Rags's because we forgot to do that. Then with the lid, this is the inside of the lid. Sydney uses obviously painter's tape and then just plain paper to measure it all. And then this is us putting it on the actual box. So this is the lip inside that will hold the top on top. You can tell I really have the vocabulary for this. So Sydney's the one with the little prong thing, which is actually made out of a piece of wire hanger. And she was spreading the solder there. And then here, she's used Sharpie and she's just scoring it so that we have a clear idea of where the top should go or be. It's a pretty neat trick. So this is the outer rim of the lid, and you use wire to keep it closed while you're soldering everything on. And then the solder chips all ready, and then it's finished, but just needs the very top of the lid. It has the outside of the lid, but the very top. And there's lots and lots and lots of sanding. I got really sick of sanding, to be honest. Okay, and so then we put the lid on, and then this ends up looking like a graduation cap when we're done. But I obviously had to file and saw off those corner pieces so that it ended up being a round looking box. And the box isn't perfectly round, but I kind of like that. See how it looks like a graduation cap? So it made me think of that. All right, and then we had to put the paw on the top of the lid, and that's what we're doing here. I love the contrast in the silver colors there. Painting it with a little bit of flux before we adhere it on. And I loved also how dark the lid got, and then the paw shined bright. It was a really cool chemical reaction that day. I don't know what causes that, but it was super neat. All right, here we're just trying to draw out some of the copper that came to the top. Silver has a little bit of copper in it, and so it can look discolored from fire scale. So we're just trying to draw that out. And then here's Sydney polishing the box. This is it, all done, all finished. Just got it back from my professor who put it through the tumbler. And the most exciting part of that was that the paw and the inside also got really highly polished, which is super exciting. And here the boxes are side by side. And this is where they will remain. So this is Rags, and that's his box, and then this is Caymus. And I don't have a picture of Caymus on my mantle, but I have plenty of others. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. This is a really important project to me, and I'm really glad and happy about how it turned out. I think that they are really gorgeous and exactly what I envisioned them to be, and I love them next to each other, but not excited to add any more. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.